Hello and welcome to this episode of Bird Brain. Today on Bird Brain we're going to build what I call the Tim Allen bird feeder. Tim Allen bird feeder is because he always built things that went a little over the top. Well, this one's a little over the top too. But if you have birds like we have, when we feed birds in the wintertime, you're constantly filling bird feeders and there never seems to be enough room for all the birds. So I built this one and designed this one to fix that problem. First of all, this is the tray that the birds eat out of. We're going to start by putting a base on the tray. I center that piece of wood that I pre-cut, and I'm just going to put in a temporary screw here. That just holds that so I can flip it over. Now I'm going to put 4 screws in here to hold this down. And then I'll flip it back over, take that temporary screw out. Maybe. Okay. So that's the tray. But this is the killer. That's what holds your seed. 5-gallon pail, modified. I've cut 4 holes, kind of 1 in each side. And that's where you're going to put your seed. Your seed's going to spill out into your tray. And this again will hold 5 gallons of seed. With the tray, it'll hold about a 25-pound bag. So instead of having to fill your bird feeders every day, you're going to fill it once a week, maybe once every 5 days, depending on how many birds you have. Okay, to start with, I've centered this. Now I've already pre-drilled or pre-drawn lines in here so I don't have to bore you with a measuring tape. So now we've got that centered. Then what I have to do is I'm going to put this little base in the bottom. This base has 2 functions. One function is it's going to hold the pail down, and by having that piece of wood, if the pail wind rocks it, whatever, the plastic's not going to crack. Again, I've pre-drawn my lines to center this. To do this, I need an extension bit to reach down to the bottom of the pail. This is a little tricky, this part. Now I normally put 4 screws in there, but just for show here, I'm only going to put the 2 in. So there, we've got our tray, we've got our bird feeder. Now we're going to build a lid. I'll just set this up. Now one thing you've maybe noticed what I did here is I just took a regular white 5-gallon pail and I painted it to match the tray. If you do this, make sure you buy plastic paint. If you use just regular paint, it doesn't stick to plastic very well, and it will come off over time. So make sure you buy plastic paint. Any 5-gallon pail will do. You can buy these at most stores, or you can get them for free if you have a farmer friend or somebody that runs a restaurant or something like that. They're often throwing out 5-gallon pails. Ask around, you should be able to get one for free. You don't have to spend money on it. Okay, we'll set this down. Now we build the lid. This is the lid that I built. It overlaps about 3 inches on each side just to help keep snow off the feeder. What you're going to see here is I've got 2 hooks that I've already installed. Now we're going to put the centerpiece on. Again, I've already drawn a line just to save time, but that has to be centered the best you can. Remember, it's a bird feeder. Birds won't know if it's not exactly centered. Again, I just put a temporary screw in there so I can flip it over, and I'm going to put 4 screws in. Okay, so there's my lid. So I'll bring this back up. One more thing that I like to do is I find when I have this type of a bird feeder is often as the seeds come down, there's a whole lot of seed left inside the bucket that doesn't come out the holes. So what I've done is taken just a regular 2-liter pop bottle. Remember that little round thing? I said it had 2 purposes. Okay, so what I do is I put that inside. What that does is kind of like an upside down funnel, and it forces the seeds out to the edge. It doesn't really save you any seed or anything, but sometimes you can get rotten seeds that develop in the middle over the winter. This just spreads them out and it helps get the seed out to the edge. Now again, I'm not going to bore you putting the screws in and that. We'll just get right on to this. The next thing is, now I put hooks on this, and I got a 50-50 chance of getting this right. I think I got it wrong. I've already pre-installed the hooks to make it easier. This just stops the wind from blowing your roof off and getting your seeds wet. So there you go. You've got the ultimate Tim Allen bird feeder. You fill that up again with about 25 pounds of seed, and lasts you a week or so depending on how many birds you have. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to install a floor flange. Similar, you may be seeing what we use for our mounting our bird houses. So there, we got a floor flange mounted on top. Now, depending on where you want to put your bird feeder, you can do 1 of 2 things. You can pound a post in the ground. Make sure if you're pounding it in, you put a cap on top to protect the threads. That post screws into there. You want to have that bird feeder about the right height so that when you put seed in, you don't have to get a step ladder to reach it. There's no real set height for bird feeders. You can also do that same thing if you've got a post in the yard. If you have a post in the yard, you can put one of these on top of your post, or flange it's called. And you just set your bird feeder on top of your post. Hope you enjoyed this version of Bird Brain. Don't forget to subscribe, and here's a good bird feeder to keep your birds happy for a long time. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time again. Don't forget to subscribe.